So the bottom line is you have to understand what you're trying to do with your car and how far you're looking to go. Alright guys, so I now have long tube headers on the Charger. It's the Dynatech long tubes with Dynatech high flow cats. Alright guys, so I have long tube headers now on the Charger, and for a lot of you guys that have been following the channel, I did get Shorty headers on there. The long tubes have been a very big upgrade. It has the Dynatech high flow cats and the MagnaFlow 3-inch catback exhaust. But you know what? I want to talk about Shorty headers. And before I do, I just want to show you guys a knife. This video is being sponsored by knivesdeal.com, and for anybody that, you know, is into knives, air pistols, swords, you name it, you could get 10% off on anything on the website. So let's take a look at the Shorty headers. I went with Hooker Shorty headers, and you know, I don't regret doing, you know, the shorties, and I'm going to explain why. You know, there's a lot of advantages to going with Shorty headers, and we're going to talk a little bit about them. Okay, so some of the advantages of Shorty headers are that they're direct bolt-ons. Okay, you can take the stock exhaust manifolds, and you can put these in replacement of the stock manifolds. Now, that is number one, cheaper. You're improving the airflow going out of the engine, but the thing why these get such a bad rap is because you are not going to walk away with as much horsepower and torque as the long tubes. And so if you're going to be modding your car, a lot of people say go long tubes because you're going to net the most amount of performance, which is actually accurate. If you take a look at the dyno sheets, when I went from shorties to long tubes, there was a 15 wheel gain to the wheels throughout the entire power band. Okay, and that is a huge upgrade. Now, the thing that shocked me the most about going from shorties to long tubes was that it only was a gain of about 15 to 17 wheel horsepower, and that was at like 110, 120 miles an hour. You started seeing the difference between the two in power. So, you know, the shorties really were a nice upgrade over the stock, but they do fall short with long tubes. So the biggest advantage to this is that it is a direct bolt-on. Number two is the pricing of it. Okay, because it is a direct bolt-on, I believe I got this for $600, and let's just call it $600. Maybe $700. We'll call it $700. I got this for $700, and then the installation was $600 cash. So that was $1,200 pretty much all together, if I remember correctly. And when I only had shorties and a tune, I was at 355 wheel horsepower and 390 in torque, and that's a big upgrade over what I had prior. So for people that never intend on racing, never go to the drag strip, you know, spending the $1,200 for the little extra horsepower is actually worth it. There's a ton of people out there that really never never want to race. They don't care. So getting this little extra power, it's a direct bolt-on, is something that is really great. Now, obviously, through the course of building a channel and wanting to gain more horsepower and torque, I naturally reverted from the shorties to the long tubes, because long tubes are just going to squeeze the most amount of performance out of your car as possible. So for those that are looking into shorty headers, I just want to say that don't listen to a lot of the people out there. They still are a solid modification. They're going to net you a good performance gain. It's just they fall short a lot from long tubes, in comparison to long tubes. So really, that's what I have to say. I have no regrets about this, because this Charger was supposed to be basically just a fast street car, and it went from that to now being a car that I really want to race it. I want to see how far I can push the 5.7. And so, for those that are just looking for a little bit more horsepower and torque, Shorty Headers is definitely not a bad option.
Your Shorty Headers.
Okay.
So, and this is really what you're going to feel, because you're talking 385 to 398. You're talking almost 15 foot-pounds of torque, right at 4,300 RPM.
Yeah, that's increased throughout the entire...
Yeah, so this is what the long tube headers did. I mean, they picked the torque up immediately and just carried it through the whole power band. This little dip right here is your intake manifold runner control. The dip was there before, and it's a little bit more exaggerated now because you got higher exhaust flow. I worked with the cam timing a little bit and was able to pick it up, and I'm also able to carry the RPM out now because I found the proper transmission table for manual mode. And I changed the RPM range, so it shifts to 6,500 now. So that power is hanging there and it doesn't really fall off. So if you make the shift 6,500, it's only going to fall back here. It's not going to fall back here. So they usually fall back about 1,500 RPM to 2,000 RPM. So it would fall back to here on a shift. Where if you shift up
so I'm
here,
still in the meat basically of my power when I shift. Okay.
Staying in the meat of the horsepower. But I mean, that's significant gain. I mean, that's big. You're gonna feel that when you're driving it. So.
Should I wear my sunglasses on or off? What are you doing?